Good morning, my friends. My name is Sean Miller. I'm Mr. Bell's neighbor and friend. And him and I have talked about personalizing some yoga sessions. If you've watched the previous video I had sent, that was my graduating class. I just finished my yoga certification this year. But my goal and ambition is to help personalize yoga for tennis, for you and your team, to help you both with flexibility, but then also with strength. I've put together just a quick presentation, and then we'll jump into the actual the sequences that I've built for today. So a little bit about myself. Years ago, back in 2006 and 2007, I played for BYU men's soccer. This is me now as a yoga instructor. I've also done broadcasting for Utah Valley men's soccer, also BYU men's soccer. I've also done some with the Rail Monarchs. I've also written articles for Rail Salt Lake and different tournaments, different games. And what it's done is it's given me access to locker rooms and given me access to the athletes and players. And it's been interesting to see a lot of these players that take on yoga, professional athletes. And we'll cover that a little bit more in a minute. But before we do that, I just wanted to give you guys a visual of who I am, why I love yoga. Me personally, I wish I had yoga when I was playing at BYU. I had dealt with a lot of knee issues, a lot of knee pain, inflammation, patellar tendonitis. And I wish I had yoga at the time because I know it would have helped me perform at a higher level. Because what yoga does is it balances your muscle groups. When you play a sport over and over again, you use the same muscles constantly. And what yoga does is it balances that out. It takes the smaller muscle groups that don't get activated and don't get utilized a ton in your everyday activities. But with your biology, you have different muscle groups, and your major muscle groups are what perform sports activities. But your major muscle groups have supporting muscles, smaller muscle groups that help stabilize those muscles. And if those smaller muscle groups are weak, that's where injury can occur, because your big muscle gets overused, and then it can snap, or it can pull, or it can tug, or get inflamed. But the smaller muscle group holds those bigger muscle groups in place. So my goal is to help you in your performance and help with flexibility, and then ultimately strength. To start though, I would like to just share this quick video. It's a little funny, it's a little silly, but I think it highlights what yoga does and how it can help your body. It's called All About the Fuzz. It's talking about the fascia. The fascia is like these layers in the muscles or in the tendons and ligaments in your body, and how if you don't exercise, the fascia start attaching to one another. And if you've ever seen old people where they start hunching over and they've got a hunchback, it's because their muscles start connecting and their ligaments start connecting to one another, and so then they're not open. So we'll work on that today. We'll try to open up the chest and the shoulders. These are our focus for our first session. But let's just watch this really quickly, and then we'll jump into some more content. Good.
camera good?
Yeah. So here's the thing about the fuzz. I'm going to try and do it at the camera. Okay. So we've seen the fuzz. You can see it now. I'll put it in over my voice. The fuzz yields to my fingertip. Sometimes I've come across a stronger, thicker strand that doesn't yield to my fingertip. That represents older fuzz sometimes, or maybe it represents the nerve. But each night when you go to sleep, the interfaces between your muscles grow fuzz potentially. And in the morning when you wake up and you stretch, the fuzz melts. We melt the fuzz. That stiff feeling you have is the solidifying of your tissues. The sliding surfaces aren't sliding anymore. There's fuzz growing in between them. You need to stretch. Every cat in the world gets up in the morning and it stretches its body and it melts the fuzz in the same way that the fuzz melted when I passed my finger through it. When you're moving, it's as if you're passing your finger through the fuzz, just like I did on the cadaver form here. So you have to stretch and move and use your body in order to melt that fuzz that's building up between the sliding surfaces of your musculature. The sliding surface, those shiny white surfaces of the rectus femoris sliding against the vastus intermedialis. So these sliding surfaces are all over your body. The fuzz is all over your body. And as you move, you melt the fuzz. Now, what happens if you get an injury? Aha, my shoulder. My shoulder is stiff now. I'm holding my shoulder. I go to bed. I wake up in the morning. I don't stretch my shoulder. I'm afraid it hurts. So I'm walking around like this. Last night's fuzz doesn't get melted. I go to bed. I sleep some more. Now I have 2 nights fuzz built up. Now 2 nights fuzz is more fuzz than 1 night's fuzz. What if I have a week's fuzz or a month's fuzz? Now those fuzz fibers start lining up and intertwining and intertwangling, and all of a sudden you have thicker fibers forming. You start to have an inhibition of the potential for movement there. It's no longer simply a matter of going, oh, stretch. Now you need some work. Now you might need to do a more systematic exploration of that place to restore the original movement that you lost. And usually this is the case. We have a temporary injury, then we restore our movement. But sometimes we call this aging, the buildup of fuzz amongst the sliding surfaces of our bodies so that our motion becomes limited, the limit cycles become introduced into our normal full range of motion, and we start to walk around like this. We're all fuzzed over. Our body is literally solidifying. We're reducing our range of motion in individual areas of our body, for our entire body in general. So I believe that one of the great benefits of body work, whether it be massage or structural therapies or physical therapy or any kind of hands-on therapy, these types of therapies introduce movement manually to tissues that have become fuzzed over through lack of movement, whether the lack of movement is because of an injury and a person is protecting that injury, or because of personality expression. That was many years when I just walked around like this. I was very still and monk-like. So, and then I became a little more dynamic in my personality when I realized what I was doing to myself and the kind of life that I wanted. So you can grow fuzz by choice or by accident or whatever. And yet here, now you've heard the fuzz speech, you know that you can take responsibility for melting the fuzz. And if there's too much fuzz in your body and it's frozen up, you might want to seek help in order to introduce movement so that the new cycle is a little more movement and a little more movement and a little more movement instead of a little less movement, a little less movement, a little less movement. Fuzz represents time. The easier it is for me to pass my finger through the fuzz, the less amount of time it's been there. If I got to whip out my scalpel to dig my way through one otherwise sliding surface and another, you know that that's been building up for a long time. So you can actually see time in fuzz. That's the fuzz speech. We love the fuzz speech.
I hope that highlights gives you an idea of what the reason I wanted to bring up this yoga is that fuzz, the fascia. And you notice the one thing that I thought was super interesting is where he talked about the time that it takes to take his finger or the time represents how long the fuzz has been there. And if he has to break out his scalpel to break down the fuzz. And that's one thing in sports. When I was at BYU soccer, sometimes we'd have massage from our athletic, I can't think right now, our athletic director, our athletic trainer. That's what I was looking for. The athletic trainer would give us massages. Now, these were not pleasant, feel-good massages. These were digging into the fascia, digging into the deep muscle tissues to free up those fascias from tying together. And that's really when you get muscle pulls, the fascia start conglomerating, getting on top of one another, and then that's what causes inflammation. So when you get inflammation, you have to start flushing all that out. So you have to press it out. So massage for sports is not always fun, but it's trying to release those muscle tissues and those fascia, those tendons from being connected to one another. Now, I just brought a couple slides in. 5-time Wimbledon champion Novak Djokovic owes his success to yoga and meditation. You can find this article online and read through it. Talked about him beating Roger Federer in a 5-hour plus series game, and he dedicated a lot of his win to his yoga and meditation. And then another a famous tennis player, Andy Murray. I'm pretty flexible for a tennis player. Yoga has helped me a lot with my fitness and mental strength. And then finally, Maria Sharapova. I go to yoga classes and work on my core. With yoga, it's a full body exercise. Your core obviously gets worked a lot, and we'll focus on that here in a minute as we jump into the sequences. But I just wanted to highlight an overview of why yoga can be beneficial. For me, it's become a meditation, a moving meditation, but it also is a physical exercise to free up the fascia, to make me more flexible, and to give me more strength. Because when you're more flexible, your muscles have more area, more landscape to move and operate. If your muscles are tied too tight to a space, then it's not going to be able to move and function in its normal range of motion. But if you free up that flexibility and there's no fascia, there's nothing impeding the movement, then you'll be able to operate more effectively. So let's go ahead and jump into the sequence now. So I apologize for going into too much detail there. Now I'd like to just jump into a sequence here. So we're going to start on our mats. We're going to start laying back on our backs, and we'll bend our knees here, place our sole of our feet on the mat. And to start, we'll start with our hands down at our sides. And we'll start with some snow angels just to start. So we'll take our hands and we'll along the floor on an inhale, up above our head, hold it at the top, and then come back down. One more just like that. Inhale, come up big, hold it at the top, and come down. Okay, this time when we come back up, we're going to do a little crunch from the top. So we'll start, inhale, up, exhale, come to the top of our knees. Come back down. Inhale, hold at the top, exhale, come to our knees. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale, come up. Okay, now lie back down. Extend your legs out. Let's just do a big morning stretch. So take your arms up above your head, point your toes away from you, and just stretch as big as you can. kind of like what that guy said with the cat. Every cat every morning gets up and stretches as big as he can. Okay, now bring your knees back bent, soles of the feet on the mat. You're gonna grab your right leg, and just behind your right leg, just behind your hamstring, you're going to externally and internally rotate that leg. At your hip is the acetabulum. That's where your femur connects to your hip joint, your pelvis floor. And here we're going to just externally and internally rotate as we deepen our breath. Okay, now we're going to take our hands and grab on each side of your foot. Bend your knee. And this is called the hand to big foot pose, or hand to big toe pose. What this is doing is it's stretching your hamstrings. There's 3 hamstrings, the biggest muscles in your body. And this is always one that you want to stretch out, especially as a tennis player. You're going to be using this often. This is a great starting spot. Remember just to deepen the breath here. I have to start with my knee bent for my left knee here. As it gets bigger, extend that leg out as you get deeper in the stretch, I should say. Last inhale. Very good. Now go ahead and return that right knee and go ahead and grab behind your left leg or left hamstring. Same thing, internal, external rotations as we deepen our breath here. You always want to take care of your hamstrings. Like I said, the biggest muscle group, the biggest muscles in the body. Go ahead and grab your left foot. Bend your knee. Your knee should almost be hitting your chest. If you want to take your right leg now and extend it long, go ahead. You'll feel that pull on the left hamstring a bit more. Last inhale. Good. Now come up to an easy seat. And place your hands on your knees here as you sit big. And as we continue throughout the rest of this yoga practice, I really want you to focus on your breathing. If you're holding your breath, that's where you can start injuring yourself and overextending yourself. I do not want you holding your breath, and I obviously do not want hurt. I don't want you hurting yourself. So to start off, we're going to just start simple from the easy seat position. So we're going to start rotating in hip circles as we deepen the breath. And as we breathe in, the breath should go all the way down to your stomach. And switch directions. Same thing, just go opposite direction now. And good, come to stop. Now we're gonna go to tabletop. So flip over onto your knees. You're going to place your hands just underneath your shoulders. You want to stack your joints here. You don't want to have your wrists and everything out here just yet. We will in a minute just to stretch that out. But to start, we want our hips and our knees aligned, and we want our shoulders aligned with our wrists, just to start. We'll do a couple cow and cat. So cow is an open the heart. So we lift our head, chest up to the sky as we inhale. And then exhale, we curl our head and our back and tuck your stomach in. All right, so we'll go through about 4 of these. So inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Tuck that belly in. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Last one. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Okay, come back to the tabletop. This time we'll do what we call puppy dog pose. So keep your knees where they are, stacked over or stacked with your hips. And now you're going to take your arms and extend these out. So if you think of a dog when it wakes up in the morning, it stretches. You're going to extend your arms out all the way out until you can rest your forehead on the mat. And if you can get your chest to the mat, even better. But again, do not overextend yourself. Do not push yourself. Do not hurt yourself. Just take a couple deep breaths here. Two more inhales. Remember, deep inhale all the way to your stomach. Last one. Okay, come back up. All right, the next one's called thread the needle. So you're going to take your right arm, put it to the sky, and then thread it underneath your left. And then you'll let that right shoulder hit and fall to the mat. Place your right ear to the mat. And then just sit here, settle in for a couple deep breaths here. Two more. Okay, come back up. We'll switch it out. Now, with your left arm to the sky, exhale, tuck it underneath the right arm. Two more breaths. Good, come back up. Okay, this time, go ahead and lay flat on your stomach here. You're gonna take your hands and permanently, and so you'll extend your hands out in front of you. Try to put your elbows together, and then just settle into this deep couple breaths here as well. Tuck your head in between your elbows. Good. Now, we'll come back to tabletop. And this time we're going to take our right leg and step it through. And we'll bring our hands to our right knee. This is called half crescent lunge. So you should feel a slight stretch in your quad, even up into your groin area here. Okay, this time come up with your arms up to the sky. And now you're going to bring your left arm up in front and your right arm behind you. So this is trying to open up your chest, open up your shoulders. And I'm going to be facing away from you, but a couple breaths here. Okay, come back to center. Go ahead and place that knee back with the left knee, and we'll switch it out. We'll go with the left foot, step it between your hands. Great starting spot, then come into half crescent. Couple deep breaths here, feel it in that hip, quad area. Okay, extend your hands up. Take your left hand back, right arm out. And good, come back to tabletop. And from here, we're going to extend into down dog. So down dog is a very important move in yoga, a very important asana pose. So to start off, we're going to take our hands, and you think of the L for loser, or the L's in your hands. You're going to press down in your L's of your hands, plant your feet behind you, and send your butt or hips up and back. And the goal is to try to get your heels to touch the mat. It's early morning for me, and I'm not going to get there today. So you should have a slight bend in your knees. And this is very important, because if you try to overextend yourself, you can really damage your back or your hamstrings. Now, your back should be in a straight line as much as possible. So from your buttocks to your neck, the base of your neck should be a straight line as best as possible. And I like to pump it out, so I'll bend one knee and straighten the other one. Then deepen my breath. And good. Now we're going to just slowly step to the top of our mat. And I might need to adjust my computer here, so you can see me a little bit better. I think that's better. Perfect. So we should be standing at the top of our mats, and we'll do some sun salutation. So inhale, lift our arms to the sky. Exhale, fold. And you'll be over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, down to push-up position. If you can get up on your toes, so your big toes are taking all the weight, and then exhale, you'll come all the way down to your stomach. Inhale, cobra. So lift your chest and your body up. Try not to use your hands to start. Once your body is up slightly, go ahead and lift with your hands again. Remember to take deep breaths here. Good, and then back into down dog.
We'll do one more or two more sun salutations. So from here, take the deep breaths, press into those L's of your hands. Go ahead and walk forward. Top of your mat.
Inhale up. Exhale, fold.
Inhale halfway.
Exhale, fold.
Push-up position. This is what they call chaturanga. So you're gonna go halfway down, tuck those elbows to the sides of your body, and then come all the way down, flip the feet,
Press into your hands. This is called up dog.
and then exhale back into down dog. Let's do two more of those. Just do a couple resting breaths here. Okay, slowly walk to the front.
Inhale up. Exhale, fold.
Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, down to chaturanga.
Up dog.
Exhale, down dog. We'll do one more of those. Just a couple resting breaths here. Okay, walk to the top.
Inhale up. Exhale, fold.
Inhale, half lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Exhale back into down dog. Good. From here, we're going to take our right leg to the sky, this three-legged dog. Go ahead and take that right knee and come to the right elbow. And then back. Let's do that one more time. Knee to elbow. This time we're going to take your right leg and step it through. Plant right in between your hands.
We'll come up to high lunge. And now we'll rotate this back leg to face the opposite direction. So my right leg still stays in that lunge. This is what they call warrior two. So extend your arms out. Settle your shoulder blades down, but expand your chest as best as possible. A couple breaths here. Reverse the warrior. So now you're going to take your left hand, put in your left leg as you extend your right arm to the sky. Should feel a lateral stretch in your lateral side body here. Couple breaths. Good, now we'll go into side angle, so right arm, right elbow to the right knee. Extend that left arm up above you, over your ear and head. Should be one line of energy from my pinky toe, my back foot, to my pinky finger
My hand above my head. Good, go back to reverse warrior for one breath. And then we'll cartwheel our hands back down. Send that foot back. Go back into down dog. Now this time, extend our left leg to the sky. Do 2 knee to elbow. First one. Back up to 3-legged the dog. One more. Good, and we'll step through this time. Come to high lunge. Rotate that back leg back into warrior 2. This front knee should track to your pinky side edge. That opens up the hips. Reverse the warrior. Remember to keep those deep breaths. Side angle, left elbow to left knee. Send that right arm up above you. Back to reverse warrior. Cartwheel the hands down. Then step that leg back into down dog. Couple of resting breaths here. Good, now bend your knees, gaze to the top of your mat. Jump, fly or step to the front. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands to the side. This is our standing series. We'll do the dancer's pose, try to get that quad a nice good stretch here. So what you'll do is inhale, lift that right leg, or right ankle up, kind of stretch that ankle a little bit, a little rolls as you deepen the breath. Switch directions on the ankle roll. Inhale, grab the inside of, grab from the outside of your ankle, pull it in. Make sure your plant foot, you can see I'm going all over the place, so I'm gonna reset myself. I'm gonna plant that foot in, then grab my behind. Now I'm gonna switch my hold to the inside of my foot. And now I'm gonna start extending my left hand out in front of me for balance, tip forward and start kicking into my hand. This is what they call dancer's pose. Girls are a lot more flexible here. Focus on the breath, gaze at one spot on the wall or out in the distance to focus on your balance. And good, come back down. Switch sides now. Get that planted in that, rooted in on that opposite foot now, my right foot. And just do a couple ankle rolls. Help with the ankle flexibility, movement. Switch directions. And good, go ahead and kick that up. Pull that knee back to try to keep the hips as square as possible to start. Flip the grip. Extend the arm out. Kick back into that hand. Deepen that breath. If you fall out, just come right back to it. Push yourself, kick back into that hand. Good, come back to center. We'll do one more standing series here. Deepen that breath. On the next inhale, lift your leg up. Come into prayer with your hands. So now we're going to kick that foot back. This is warrior 3. Want to keep your hands in prayer pose, that's fine. Want to extend it back into airplane and try to extend that leg, the standing leg. Lift your chest, shoulders up. Kick that leg back heel up. Good, come back down. Okay, we're going to switch it out this time. This time plant root down that right leg. Lift the left leg up in front of you. Exhale back. Go into airplane. Each side might be a little different. My right leg doesn't have as much stability or strength as my left. So fall, just come right back. Deepen that breath, focus in. This is obviously good for tennis players. You're on one foot a lot. And come back to center. Good. Okay, now find an easy seat. We're going to do a couple boat poses. Obviously, core strength, as Maria Sharapova has mentioned, is very important, especially as you're doing your twists. You want your core to be very strong. So to start, we'll bend our knees out in front of us. Sit up straight. Lift that head, spine, neck up to the sky. Now I'm going to lift my legs parallel to the ground as I lean back. It's a great place to start. And then to make it more challenging, you extend your legs out in front of you. Lift them up, lift your arms out in front of you as well. Last breath. Come back to seat, easy seat. Couple resting breaths here. That was our warm-up round. A little harder this time. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 deep breaths, extended like we just did. And we're going to lower to lower boat pose, which I'll show you. Just follow my lead. And then we'll come back to normal boat pose. And extend those legs out. Lower to lower boat. So your feet should stay 6 inches above the ground. Your back is just your lower back is touching. Come back up to high boat. 2 more breaths here. And good. Come back to easy seat. And now we're going to come back to a supine laying position. We're going to take our feet wide of the mat. That's what I call windshield wipers. Should get a little bit more hip flexibility here. Extend your arms out to the side and let your hips just dip in on an exhale. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, fall to the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale, fall. Last one on the other side. Good. Now we're going to come to a side laying position. So we're going to stack the knees here and imagine that there's a wall here. We don't want our knees passing the mat, the barrier. We're going to take our hands, put them in prayer pose out in front of us, but we're going to extend our arms. And we're going to take our hand and trace up above our head until we feel like we don't want to go anymore. And then we'll come back. So inhale. Exhale, come back. It should be a chest and shoulder opener again. Two more times. Notice how I hold it at the top. Do the same thing. Good. Now let's switch sides. I'm going to just flip. So I'm facing the camera this time. Again, extend your arms out in front of you in prayer pose. Inhale. Open that up. Exhale, come back. Last one. And good. Okay. This last one is what we call a shoulder stand. So start here with our knees bent, supine position. Now we're going to take our hands and we're going to start by placing them in our back pockets as we lift our legs up to the sky. And then we'll press our elbows and our forearms into the ground as we press our fingers higher up our back. Now this should start pushing the blood flow in the opposite direction. So this should start flushing our lymphatic drainage system. Now you don't want to look to the right or left. You want to protect your neck here and just look straight up. Good. Slowly lower it back down, one vertebrae at a time. Flatten those feet. Extend those legs out long. And just relax here. Deepen the breath. We'll just do one song in Shavasana. Alexa, play Liquid Mind.
Shuffling songs by Liquid Mind on Amazon Music.
As you settle in, start to envision yourself. Start to envision yourself on the court. Envision all the shots that you've been practicing. Envision you doing everything correctly, the right technique. Envision your body strengthening, your body getting more power. Envision yourself doing everything perfectly on the tennis court. From your swing to your footwork to your approach to the ball. Everything is perfect. Thank you for practicing yoga with me. I hope to practice again with you soon. Namaste.